Here we go. Hi, so I'm Allison Schumacher. I'm the Director of Academic Alchemy for the VCU Da Vinci Center and co-director of this particular program. And join me, I have my colleague Ingrid Pretzer-Aboff, Dr. Ingrid Pretzer-Aboff, I should say, who is also co-director of this program. Ingrid, do you want to introduce yourself?
Ingrid Pretzer-Aboff is fine, or just Ingrid. Yeah, I'm in the School of Nursing and I've worked there for many years, since 2017. My background is, well, I just got full professor, so yay.
Congrats.
Congrats.
Got it. So I like to say that. I have a couple of businesses now. I have a couple of products that we're bringing to commercialization. And it's all my research and development of products is all around helping people with Parkinson's disease ambulate easier, walk more smoothly. There are a lot of things to learn as a nurse, trying to put something out there on the market. And that's what drives me to really support and co-direct this program. Working with the Da Vinci Center answers all the questions I had and more, and working with Allison and the networking that occurs through this program is incredible and should not be undervalued. So there are so many people that know so much that can help and want to help, that you having easy access to them is key to being successful. That's how I feel. The program itself, did you get to the program?
I didn't, and Leah just joined us, so we're kind of starting from the beginning. We didn't, I didn't have too much time with Travis before we hit record.
I was running to make sure I made it on time, so I feel badly I was a little bit late. So the program, I think it's better if Aaliyah and Travis, do you come from an engineering kind of product development side, or do you come from a healthcare side?
Or something else.
Yeah, or something else.
Yeah, I'm currently a registered nurse in Ontario, so more the healthcare side for me.
Nice.
Healthcare, pharmacy. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Me too.
And
Healthcare, and I've worked at some pharmaceutical companies.
Okay, cool. Excellent, excellent. You know, it's people like, well, you all, if you have some interest in the innovation and what can be done next, beyond being a care provider or in addition to being a care provider, you all are on the front lines. You see the improvements that can be made in healthcare better than, someone like me who's only goes into doctor's offices because I have a lot of doctors. But not so I'm not the expert on that side. But what we've done is with this certificate is try to make sure that people on the healthcare side can become aware of the tools, the methodology of thinking, the problem solving, to be able to take what they've learned, see a problem in the healthcare system, and then hopefully be able to move an idea forward that might be towards commercialization. We just had a student in this program go through one of our courses with our Master of Product Innovation students. It's the first part of our capstone for the master, or for the MPI, I should say. And she developed a device that basically would allow care providers to have all of the materials they need. So if you're EMS, you can wear this particular vest and it will have all the things that you need just there and on you. Same thing for nurses and those kinds of things that, basically you get to fill this thing up and then it's just easy to carry around and you're just equipped with what you have. She's done a lot of user testing and those kinds of things with it. We've had a wait, I'm not pronouncing that correctly. A surgeon. Pulmonology. I'm like, I don't know how to say that.
Don't worry.
A pulmonologist who's gone through this, and he was really looking for ways to improve like drainage and those kinds of things coming from drainage tubes and those kinds of things, like the insertion process, improving that, and then improving all of the equipment with it. So things that are really specialized, that they had a product ready or an idea ready for a product. And so they moved into our particular class. There's lots of classes that are associated with the certificate. So we try to meet students where they are, figure out what you know and what you don't know, and then help guide you into courses that will help you expand upon your knowledge. And you can do that in just 12 credits.
And two of those courses are mandatory courses. is a choice of nursing leadership courses so that people understand, and it doesn't matter where they're coming from. Students understand how to implement something or how to address a need or identify a need, because we don't want to make products or improve processes where there's no need. I've had many people come to me with products for Parkinson's patients to help them exercise. But they never really investigated the patient population, so didn't understand it. And that doesn't really convey. So that was a lot of time on a great product that had no usefulness. All
That's
the
a really good
had to do
point.
was turn off the reminders if they felt they were being annoyed. So,
That's a really good point. So to make about Da Vinci that I sometimes forget to make. So the Da Vinci side of this, it really is human centric. So we tend to focus on design thinking and starting with empathy from our users. So any product or any idea that we're working to validate and cultivate towards commercialization or to licensing, right? You don't have to become an entrepreneur just because you had a great solution. We can also protect that solution and license it out to companies. But it's important to know that the innovation side of things is coming from user-centric development. We've really found in the world of product development that if you are a company and you are launching products, or if you're just designing in a silo, that the likelihood that your product will actually make it to market or be adapted into something like the healthcare system is quite low. So if you start talking to patients, to care providers and various groups as you're in development and you're open to your idea kind of shifting perspective or the solution being able to change over time. So you're falling in love with the problem, not the solution. We find a lot bigger success.
That's well said, and that's exactly what this does and the reason why this exists. As healthcare providers or in the field of healthcare, both of you might have an idea already of something that you could improve or would like to improve, or is that the case? You don't have to tell us what the project is, but you could share a little bit and we could tell you what resources are available here. Product or process?
That's okay too.
That's yeah, you might get ideas.
Travis?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
saw your hand go up.
Yeah, I was wanting to see if Aaliyah had anything, but jump in if you do. I was wondering if it's kind of specific to a commercially viable product or process only, or if your school ever includes things like structural or like system design planning, for example, things like single payer healthcare, or is that like way off base with what you guys actually do?
That's
Single
cool.
parent healthcare, is that what you said?
Single payer healthcare, yeah, in terms of I know there's differences in the Canadian and American system, and that would be like my general understanding, like insurance and all this money and different people where to go versus like having that be simple, and that how big of effect that could have for everybody, really.
That's really interesting. We certainly could connect you to people that would know the American system. Those people might already know the Canadian system, or is that something you want to investigate?
I just know where systems are in different places. Like there's single payer Canadian healthcare, but the big push right now is that it doesn't include pharmacare. So the federal parties have been talking about it. They have a supply and confidence agreement. They've agreed to, like, it's slowly starting to roll out. So it's not perfect here, but it's a little bit closer to what I have in mind, where everyone has the one card that you get what you need with the one card, instead of dealing with a huge umbrella of different companies and providers. And
To me, this sounds like a research topic, which could lead to legislation, which essentially basically it is a product because you have to package that argument in order to make an impact. Definitely doesn't have to be a commercially viable thing. We have plenty of students who decide to pursue more of the altruistic route and want to do like nonprofits or get grants for research-based kinds of things. We did have one student who let's see, he did this remotely. He's located down, him and his partner are located down in Atlanta. But he worked to build an algorithm based on his research to help predict whether or not, like help predict your level of risk for contracting melanoma or developing melanoma, I should probably say. Originally, that was meant to, like, his research is specific to BIPOC and LGBTQIA communities. But given this was right around the time of a lot of disruption, and he did not want to create a list that would put a target on anyone. So he wanted to be very careful about how he was using his research. So he specifically stuck to talking about melanoma, but his true research is about the indicators that may come from being one of those communities and making you more high risk. So he decided that we're just going to stick to melanoma and any person in this, and he got pretty darn far. He partnered with one of our Master of Product Innovation students to do it. He had a bit more coding experience, and they got to a minimum viable product to where they could actually, if you could go in, be able to enter some information and do a self-assessment, and use it as a tool to kind of tell you, hey, maybe I should go get checked out by a dermatologist. So there are things like that. He wasn't necessarily looking for a product to sell, but a product to be able to help others kind of figure out what their risks are. But we didn't really
process.
We didn't really do the business plan or anything behind that. That usually is a requirement if you're going through our capstone course. I'm not certain. We can definitely talk about like kind of what you have in mind, more specifically to figure out which classes might be best, or if this is a program that is really suited for what you want to do, or maybe something more full-time. Because VCU's got a lot. We have a new school of population health, right, Ingrid?
Mhm. We do.
Yeah, of population health. There's some really interesting disparities that happen just in Richmond. There's an entire map that if you're born in a specific place in Richmond, it determines your life expectancy, which is kind of crazy. So anyway, there's lots of public health and various things that I think this could fit really well into. I would definitely check out that school. They just moved from being more of a department into their own school. So yeah, I'm not entirely certain how to answer your question. I just talked a lot to try, but
I think if
Yeah, no,
you're
that's helpful, all the info you provide. Thank you. I just have to run
Yeah.
to catch a door, but I'll be right back.
okay. Yep, we definitely want to make sure it's a good fit for everybody.
I wanted to ask a quick question, if I may.
Absolutely.
So do you have to be a registered nurse or be on that course to be, okay.
Nope, not at all. We have a lot of our students come from our Master of Product Innovation program, so they may be
Okay.
from the arts or business or engineering. There are a lot of people who know that healthcare is ripe for innovation, and so they're just interested. But the people on the product side or the non-care provider, non-healthcare side, they have very little information about actually how to get something adapted into a health system. So, just the safety protocol, like understanding what steps you might need to take to actually move something forward, is really, really important. And that's a lot of what's covered in the nursing courses. Yeah.
Okay.
And even on the Da Vinci courses, depending on which course you take, I'm thinking of it was a 690 that I was helping you with.
Oh,
Who the
590.
stakeholders are and who you should talk to in the healthcare system and have access to is a big part of that too. Like, I want a healthcare product process. I got an idea because I watched my family go through this. You might say, where do I start? That's what you learn here. Is
Okay.
start it and how to move it forward. Travis, I was about to tell you that I think whatever product, project, or process that you're thinking of, or even just reorganization of something, might be an app. It might be something along those lines. And we've certainly had people come through here developing apps.
Okay.
Yeah, digital products are a big part.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just a part of healthcare now. It's just naturally integrated into it.
Yeah, and it's like we're like, okay, we'll use it.
COVID actually helped us with that in terms of, being
Which
able
one
to do
should we
telehealth
use?
appointments and making things a bit more flexible in dealing with things fully online.
Holistic. They talk to each other.
Yes, we talk to each other
word
more.
instead of a bunch. I kind of like that idea.
Absolutely. I do want to clarify, Aaliyah, I know Travis, when he popped in, he was thinking this was more of a formal info session where we present all the things and people sit back and listen. This is a Q&A session. So
Okay.
if you haven't seen the recording of the info sessions, we can definitely send it to you. But anything that has to do or that might be in that recording, you don't have to worry about that. You can ask any questions.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to give you context because this is
Okay,
kind
thank
of
you.
weird for an info session.
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, we do, while you're thinking through, any questions, we do have quite a mix. So Ingrid talking about the networking, being able to work with the students, both in the nursing leadership program, the master students there and the master students in product innovation, is a pretty great opportunity. The nursing courses are asynchronous, but they still involve group work, and working to solve problems, and people who are coming from outside healthcare solve different problems than people who are coming from within healthcare. For that, the faculty recognize that there are people who are coming from outside the healthcare field and that they need to establish projects that are relevant and challenging for their own backgrounds, that relate to healthcare. And so you may have, nurses and those kinds of things on your teams. But you won't be if you're not from that, you won't be expected to have all of that information going into these 500 and 600 level classes. The Da Vinci courses tend to be in person or hybrid. We can do fully online. This program can be fully online. Da Vinci has a lot of courses that can fit into this, and so we just have to figure out if you do want to do it completely online. We need to figure out the pattern, the schedule for that, so that I can make sure that I have the right classes on the schedule during the right time, to be able to work that out, which isn't a challenge. That's pretty good. We did start offering, I think this might be helpful. This next year, I'm going to turn these into full classes. But we do have someone, we have a postdoc working with us right now, Manjari, and she has started teaching classes in like systems thinking in healthcare, which I think relates a lot to what you were talking about, Travis, and just rethinking healthcare using design thinking. So she taught one this past spring, and then this summer she's teaching the systems thinking in healthcare. And so she's going to stick around and be with us for another year. And so since we're going to run these courses again, I'm going to go ahead and turn them into full courses so that they can be part of the certificate. But even now they could be, as they are their topics courses. So like a 691, that's already written into the certificate. So we can absolutely make sure that they apply if they're not full classes by the time you might join the program. But those are some pretty deep investigation courses. But Travis, I know you're in Canada, but your partner's moving to Richmond, so you might be in person. And Aaliyah, are you in Richmond?
Richmond, yes.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Okay, so there could be a little bit. All the MPI classes, all the classes that qualify for the certificate, they are all at nighttime. So if you work a normal standard 9 to 5, these don't start until 6 p.m. So
Okay.
usually one day a week.
Nursing courses are all online.
Okay,
Those are more convenient. There may be some synchronous courses, meaning you have to be at a certain time, but that's unusual.
okay.
All of our faculty do this stuff in real life
Right.
currently. If you're going to be a center for innovation and you're going to be teaching leadership and nursing, I think that's kind of a requirement.
Mm. That's true.
But we are a little bit different in the Da Vinci Center. We do have PhDs by all means, but for the most part, we have people with 15, 20 years experience in product, who've actually worked out in industry. They've seen what worked. And a lot of times when you're talking about product, that usually wins out over a PhD studying product.
Okay.
They're a lot of fun.
You mentioned coding. You mentioned a couple things that I wanted you to speak more about was the coding, if there's coding courses that we would need, and then I think you mentioned a business plan for leadership. I was wondering if that's something that's incorporated into the certificate.
So definitely exploring business models, that can be a thing. That's separate
Okay.
from nursing. That would be, there's a 502 class that's specifically on business and product innovation.
Okay.
We explore it in 590, a course that I teach, which is a project course. So that is a course where you're on a team with 2 to 3 other master students who are given a problem coming from industry,
Okay.
that the solutions are intended to go become real in industry.
Okay.
That one is by permission only because I work about a year in advance to get the project applications coming in, and I need to know like 2 to 3 months in advance if we have a medical student coming in, because I want to choose projects that are relevant to students who, you know, are trying to learn more about medical. It's always beneficial to my students who can work, you know, or in product innovation, they can work basically in any field, but we usually will take on a couple healthcare projects. If that's something you're interested in working on, if you want to work with Capital One on how to help their people better invest their time in, as part of their giving back to the community, we can do that too. There's all kinds of things. We solve problems for fintech and startups and nonprofits and stuff all the time. But I try to make sure that I'm fitting those projects to the group. 651, I speak in numbers. 651 is the 6 credit course that we offer through DaVinci. That one definitely goes over business models. But that one is more specific for students who have a problem that they want to present and then work on for that, that half of their certificate. You can always take more than 6 credits in the program. And 2, Travis, since you might potentially work for VCU in the healthcare system, there is tuition reimbursement for up to 6 credits. So could be free. So that's kind of nice. Might be able to pay for your education. And then the coding part, you do not need to have any kind of coding coming to this. I mean, honestly, as long as you have an undergraduate degree, you are interested in healthcare and you are interested in product innovation, you're a good candidate for this program.
Okay.
There's lots of flexibility to where it
And
really
you have to have that curiosity or that little burn of wanting to know more and go beyond the scope of just the healthcare arena and how things are done and items are used and processes that are currently existing. You gotta have that extra.
It's really solve those problems for
Think
people.
it's better kind of attitude.
Exactly. You do not have to have coding. We do have some opportunities. Like we offer a class that is specific to just how to improve your life and work using AI. We offer more undergraduate courses that have to do with coding, but there are available courses on VCU's campus. They wouldn't necessarily apply to the certificate.
Okay.
But no, you're not required to have any coding. That was specific to a Master of Product Innovation student who already had experience in coding languages. And
Okay.
he partnered with one of the, he was also a certificate of healthcare student, but he partnered with one of our just certificate of healthcare innovation students to develop the algorithm to predict melanoma.
Okay.
Some students come in with it. Our culture is really inclusive in that it's not competitive. Like our students aren't worried about, oh, I can't tell you anything about what I'm doing because, oh my gosh, that might hurt me in some way, or you might it's not like that at all. Most of the time you're talking to someone about a problem you're having or a roadblock you've run into, and they're immediately going to start ideating and helping you move around it. And be like, oh, hey, I heard of this article. Let me send you that. Or, hey, I know this person. He's a rubberized plastic specialist, and you should really talk to him. So it's more about bringing people together than anything. For this program too, we also try to bring in guest speakers, just in general to events. So we'll do online hosted, bring in people who run med tech startups, and talk about their journey and how they discovered the problem and then how they move through the problem to help work with their users.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I can talk forever. Yeah, Travis, like, give me the questions.
Sure, just kind of
Give
one
us the
specific question. But it's great hearing everything you have to offer so far. I'm curious about the Da Vinci School of Innovation, the Healthcare Innovation Certificate, all the ways that looks like can look various. Is there any connection or overlap with the nurse practitioner school, or is that a part of the nursing school of nursing that's separate? And it's more like the overlap is not with the nurse practitioner in the Da Vinci School.
The
Overlap is this certificate.
The School of Nursing itself, which includes all those other programs. So there is a NLOS, now I'm having word bonding problems, LOS program, leadership program, and there are nurse practitioners that take those courses or graduate level people that can take these courses, but like Allison said, you just need to have the BSN to get into those.
Okay.
We substitute courses a lot. What we suggest of two of three courses that are being offered by the LOS program. But if you have a different need, we're absolutely gonna look at that, and we could substitute courses. Da Vinci has a menu.
Ever growing list.
I just heard another course you said, and I was like, I didn't know you did that. Okay.
Because it's new. And
like,
this is part of the fun of my job.
before.
I get to find people and create really amazing classes that fill gaps that
Yeah.
students have identified.
Well, you know, as nursing is we're
Right on.
very restricted in what we have because we have to be following a lot of the organizational stipulations. So, but there are definitely courses that teach you leadership style, which is something that you also need if you're going this route. Leadership style, your own, what others, how to integrate, what kinds are there, all of that information is there and important. So I think you could get some of that on both sides, but if it's the healthcare system, I think, and you want to integrate in something into that system, that's important too. So you also learn your style, what works, what doesn't work, problem solving.
Oh yeah, problem solving from two different perspectives, which is super, super helpful. So the only real overlap between the two, like we work together, great schools to be able to have a partnership with. The overlap is the certificate, but there's another overlap. So a lot of my product innovation students also do the certificate because they can take those 6 credits of nursing classes from the certificate and apply it to the master's program. So they don't pay any additional tuition. The same goes for NLOS students. If they do it, they can use the Da Vinci courses as their electives. So it just becomes
One,
part of the master's program.
I call it a bridge.
It works out. I
Sorry.
mean,
What's the NLOS?
oh, the nursing leadership and
Organization systems, science. And maybe changing that acronym.
yeah, they're making a shift to that program
Yeah.
that's up for review this year. But yeah, so it might shift, but it's the nursing leadership program.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Or did we adequately answer your question?
Yeah.
Sometimes my neurodivergent brain goes off on its own tangents and I
We
don't always get back to the original question.
I have one more question.
Absolutely.
So where would I go to gather more information about this?
Yep, I will post one of our info session links in the chat. We have
Okay.
a bunch on YouTube. So it will spell out, here's all the classes. We'll explain what they are. Here's what it looks like if you start in one semester versus another. Here's what the program costs, like all that kind of stuff. We're kind of testing out these Q&As a little bit. We've been doing it with the Master of Product Innovation program. So we send out a recording in advance. I haven't even seen the advertisement for the session. So my comms team did. So I wasn't sure if there was even a link to that one. But there are plenty of them and the due dates are about the same. So if you get one that's really looking at fall applications, that kind of stuff, you'll see the dates. We don't change our due dates from year to year, so they just stay consistent. It's usually like November 1st or October 15th. So there's different ones and you can apply for summer, fall, or spring admission.
Okay.
You can join in
kind
any
of
semester.
rolling.
Okay.
Yep, let me.
You could go part-time or full-time, that it all depends on your time.
Okay.
We've had a student finish it in just 2
Yeah.
semesters.
Okay.
That is
And
not the
nursing
norm.
leadership, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I said it's not the norm for someone to finish in a year. They're usually doing another program. So they're,
Okay.
spreading it out over, but that's not a problem. You can absolutely just do the certificate.
Okay. Okay. That was gonna be one of my later questions. What was I gonna ask? The nursing leadership courses, if we're doing the certificate,
Mhm.
you're saying that those can be incorporated into, like, if we don't need to substitute anything? Like, I'm just wondering, like, the nursing students who are nurses and we will be joining their classes
Yeah,
in this? Okay.
yeah. So in those courses, it's a mix of students.
Okay.
Right, so
Okay.
the another really benefit of doing this is you work with different populations of students. So you'll have engineers working with you, artists working with you, you'll have all kinds of
Okay.
backgrounds working with you. And then the fun of it is learning everybody else's language.
Right, okay.
So we say things differently, mean the same thing, and we're like, what did you say?
Right,
Or we
okay.
totally interpret something differently, and then we come back to meet and we're like, I thought, oh, no, that wasn't what you meant. Okay.
Okay.
It's a good,
So,
good learning process. It's interesting. And I think that's the way of the world now anyway, that people are mingling more in academics and classes and not just keeping it solo or in a silo. And I hope so.
okay.
Okay, I posted the record of one of our recordings. Sorry, the newest one that I could find really quickly on YouTube was from April of last year, but the information has not changed. So there are some other courses that we do offer that we can absolutely talk about. I'll post the DaVinci the description. So on our DaVinci website, we have all the courses that are open to everyone. There will be some classes on there that are there'll be some classes in the recording that are not on that list on our website because
Okay.
like the 502, the 590, the 651, those are not open to everyone. And we only post the ones that are open to everyone on our website.
Okay.
All the other courses are in the bulletin. So there's a couple different places, but you
Yeah.
should be able to reach that
That's where
relatively quickly.
catalog sits is the
And I
bullet.
can put it in here to make sure. I believe the School of Nursing website should also have all the links to the bulletin and
does.
everything for this
I'm
program.
looking up that.
So we're not just sending you to 1,000 different places.
Okay.
Not
Thank
helpful.
you.
Let's see, we needed the recording and then I gotta post the DaVinci Center stuff. It says all classes. It's not true. I'm trying to get my web person to edit that, but I can't ever, I will be drowning, my team and I, small team, and we will be drowning in emails if we put all of our classes up there, even the required one or the closed ones, answering questions for people who want to take them. We're starting to kind of spread, this is the first certificate we've done. And now, once we become a school in February 2025, we're going to be launching other
cool.
certificates as well. Oh, Ingrid, you didn't know. Sorry, that was announced on April 1st, and I'm pretty certain everybody thought that was a joke, but it wasn't. So we're becoming a school.
That's excellent.
Yeah,
I just
It's
sent
very
you the
exciting.
nursing
We-
site for the program.
yeah, very, very exciting. Okay, so then I also posted the DaVinci Center classes. Was there one other thing I was supposed to? Oh, bulletin. I'll put it
Bulletin.
on the bulletin
The what?
just to make sure.
Our site's new too. The RAM is our. Oh my goodness. The picture of the RAM they used on the website. Okay. He's cute.
Let's see.
You have any other
Alright.
questions for it? Well, look, here's the picture of the RAM.
Rodney.
Yeah,
Johnny the Ram.
Oh, that's nice. He's got scrubs on, right?
yeah.
He certainly does. Look at that stethoscope.
Stethoscope. It does say guaranteed admission on the very bottom of the website. So if you had received your baccalaureate degree here in nursing, then you'd be automatically, if you qualify, you'd automatically be granted admission. So
Okay.
that's what that means. It doesn't mean that you're granted admission. Coming from different
Got it.
places. That looks confusing. Oh no, they have an explanation. Any other questions or any other things you want to mention, Allison, that you haven't updated me on?
The application process is probably a little different.
Okay.
What you all may have experienced in other programs. So again, we're looking for the humans in this. So in terms of our interview process and those kinds of things. So once you submit an application, if you're not part of the NLOS or the MPI program, so if you're interviewing for those, you don't have to go through an interview for the certificate.
Mhm.
But if you're only interviewing for the certificate, you will get to meet Ingrid and I again. And we get together and just have a conversation. We have some specific questions that we have to like go through a protocol to make sure that we're, asking all the same questions of every candidate. But really it's meant to get to know who you are. And we have tried to remove every barrier we possibly can from the
That's very
application
successful.
process.
Mhm.
So there's a letter of intent. There are questions in there that you can address one, you can address all of them. Really, we're just trying to get to know the human that you are and that you'll be a good fit for this program. So, tell us what you're excited about when, as you've been researching this kind of program. You just have to list 3 people as your recommenders with their email addresses. You don't have to have letters in hand. There's no GRE. There's no portfolio. There's no nursing tests.
Mhm.
And you just put in a request for your transcripts. You can upload your unofficial transcripts and then make the request for the full transcripts, but standardized tests don't really tell us a whole lot about whether or not you can be successful in these programs. And we're seeing that happen a lot in
Mhm.
master's programs. So the interview tends to do a lot better job, but know that if you do interview, we're probably going to ask you to either have like Legos or Connects or something else you can build with or draw. But that's
Okay.
all the clue I'm gonna give you.
Okay, fair enough.
We give you a prompt and so you go through what we call an innovation challenge.
Okay.
So it's like 30 minutes to develop a solution and then pitch it back to us. But ultimately this is meant to be low nerves, right?
Okay.
You can ask it openly, talk to us and have ask any questions that
I'm
you
gonna
want.
stop you because you're gonna start giving away everything.
Oh.
It's a fun task. It's fun. Everybody has fun. No more. We have a lot of fun too. If you can't tell.
We do. We like to have a good time. But I
Mhm.
mean, it's just higher ed has kind of had a stranglehold on people's nerves, I think, for a while when they're thinking about applying to a new academic program. And we're just trying to change that experience.
Okay.
Like, if this is truly a good program for you, if you feel like it's a good program, and we feel like it's a good program for you, like it's going to be pretty easy. I think it's going to be pretty obvious to both parties, but we obviously want both, both groups. We want to be able to serve you in the way that you're looking to be served in this,
Okay.
as
Just
opposed to
wanna
just like
make-
put into an extruder of like everything. This is how the sausage is made. We just shove everybody through the same kind of program, and that's just
No, I just also want to make sure that you could come with an idea or nothing, just have an interest.
Yep.
Right?
Okay.
And a lot of people do that.
Yep. I mean, there's plenty of our students. We've
Absolutely
only had
fine.
3.
Hmm?
We've only had, since this launched in fall of 2020, we've only had
Just Right in the
3.
middle of COVID.
Yeah, right.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. I was like, well, this is convenient. And then we're like, this is a great time to launch a healthcare innovation certificate. We need a lot of innovation. And a lot of students rush towards it. And then we realized that healthcare providers were one of our main audiences and they were already overworked. And there was far too much being asked of them. So we didn't see as many from that audience during that time. And to be, it's understandable by all means. And now I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Dang it. I was gonna say something else, but-
Okay,
Oh,
so
in
Travis and Elia, do you have, and we're talking over each other, sorry. Travis and Elia, do you have any other questions? You can contact us? Or Elia, do you have any on your list still? Or
No, that was mainly it. I think you answered, you and Allison answered, yeah, most of my questions. I just wanted to get a general feel of the goal of the certificate. And kind of where you go from that. And basically, if you wanted to fix a problem, how would you know a problem exists? I guess
You
was
learn
gonna
that in
be
this
my next one.
program. You
Okay,
also
good.
learn that in this program.
Okay.
Coming from experience or working with other people that do have an idea. But the most important thing, in my view, of having a successful launch of anything that you're thinking about is definitely to investigate the need for it and what's already out there on the market. And you learn those skills here in the program.
Okay.
That's what we call validation in the product
Mhm.
industry. So there could be a problem,
Okay.
but it might only exist for 10 people. So is there a market for said problem? And that could mean for monetary purposes or not, but it's like how many people actually have the problem that you're looking to solve? And that usually tells us whether or not it's something that's viable or that we should take our time to move forward with.
Okay.
That's a little bit different than where I
Is
was
it?
going.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
The niche of having, because I work in a niche of Parkinson's patients, so I know what that feels like. It's smaller, whereas if I worked with Alzheimer's patients, that would be much bigger.
Sure.
But is there something already on the market that exists that
Mm.
meets that need? And that's the part that needs to be thoroughly investigated as well, as knowing that you're in a niche or not. But knowing the problem and knowing if it's real, most of the time, you know that in healthcare, we use a product that already exists. We go back to the manufacturer and say, this does not work for us really well. Could you change it and make it do this instead or also? And then we give that whole idea back to another company to make profit and commercialize and improve their products instead of, we give things away to other people instead of taking it on ourselves. So you learn how to take things on yourself. Here, so in terms of what is needed, it's investigation. You have to investigate it a little bit. It could be talking to people. It may sprinkle an idea with a family member or a friend that you visit in the hospital. Somebody came up with a really great ideas about wheelchairs, what they should and shouldn't have, but he never took it to fruition because he didn't know. That was years before this program existed. And in another state. So they didn't have anything like the NPI either.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there are probably ideas that would get to market faster or benefit patients better if the feedback, if like you're behaving as the user, or you are the user and providing feedback to companies and not trying to build up an entire company manufacturing plant, those
Mhm.
kinds of things. But when we do truly land on a novel idea with a significant problem, we can help look at what that timeline looks like. It won't be, unless you're taking 5 years to get out of this program, it won't be while you're in the program, but we also don't disappear when you graduate. So there's always opportunity, like, hey, I'm really struggling to find investors in this space, or I'm really struggling to better understand the manufacturing process of this physical device that I want to create, or what does FDA look like? That's when we really can start introducing to the network and making sure that you have contacts with people who have already done this kind of stuff, so they can kind of help coach you along the way.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you get all the links that we posted in the chat?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
This last one. Yes, I do have them.
Excellent. All right. Well, I put my email address in the chat. Ingrid, would you drop yours in there?
Got it.
They're also at the end of the presentation in the YouTube video.
Okay.
So yeah, but now Zoom actually lets you copy and paste out of the chat. That wasn't a thing you could do before. Jeez, that seems just like a no.
That was a great invention. See how simple it was?
Just a little bit of code changing. And I mean, anyway, sorry. I constantly look at products through a critical eye because I have to.
You do. And you should.
My goodness. Well, thank you both for your time. And again, reach out if you have any other questions. Oh, one more thing. We also have application fee waiver codes. So in the event you do decide to apply, reach out to me, let me know, or Ingrid, let me know, and we'll make sure we get you one of those codes so you don't have to pay the $70 application fee.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much for all the info today
thank
and
you.
the code.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful day.
All right.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Nice to meet you
Bye.
both.
Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you too.
Nice to meet you too.
Bye-bye.